Alright everyone, strap in. This is gonna be a long video. Hello everybody, my name is Jenna. Today I'm doing my movie and television show wrap up for the month of December 2019. In December, I watched 21 movies and 6 TV shows, so you know, yay. Look, to be fair, it was Christmas, so I was watching a lot of Christmas movies. I also wanted to rewatch all of the Star Wars films before I went to see Rise of Skywalker, and lots of movies came out in the cinema that I wanted to see, so I watched a lot. So basically we're just gonna hop straight in because, you know, it's gonna be a long one. So the first TV show that I finished watching in December was Riverdale season 4A. I gave this one a 2 out of 5 stars. The show has reached like peak levels of stupidity. It's now not even enjoyable to watch. Like, at least in season 3 it was so bad, but it was so bad it was fun to watch. This is just terrible. I spend every week just sitting there going, why though? Like, nothing makes sense. The characters are so stupid. The storyline is awful, and the only fun part of my week watching Riverdale is when my friend in the UK, she watches it and then she sends me a BuzzFeed article that explains why the show is so stupid after every episode that we watch. So that is the only highlight of watching Riverdale anymore. It's just, it's really annoying, and I really don't like the show, but mostly I hate myself for having to keep watching. I can't stop. I need to know what's gonna happen. Like, what if one day it magically gets better and I'm not there to see it? I need to know. Second TV show that I watched this month was Fuller House season 5A. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. Fuller House is obviously the sequel to Full House, and it is such a good show. This is the final season, so we had the first 9 episodes drop in December. They were beautiful and so much fun, and I cried many times because of everything that was happening, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they wrap up this show, but I'm also not ready for it to end. The third show that I watched in December was a rewatch, and that was Torchwood season 4, so Torchwood Miracle Day. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Miracle Day is when the show became sort of Americanized and Jack and Gwen went to America to help deal with this phenomenon where on one day everybody in the world just stops dying, and it's really great. It's such a good season. I really like this one. It's not the traditional Torchwood. It is definitely very Americanized, but we get to see Jack and Gwen and all of our not dead favorite Torchwood characters, and it's just really fun, and I really like the new characters as well, and I like how they brought everything together. The fourth TV show that I finished in December was His Dark Materials season 1. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. His Dark Materials is the adaptation that we deserve. It was brilliant. Everything about it was so good. Every single episode was better than the last one. Daphne Keane is the perfect Lyra. Everyone was casted pretty much perfectly. I spent every week just looking forward to it. That was the highlight of my week, was getting to watch the new episode of His Dark Materials. Everything was brilliant and fun and great, and we got everything that we wanted to see from the books, and we got things that we weren't expecting to see in this season, but we did, and it was just so good, and I loved it so much. Seriously, if you like His Dark Materials, or if you just like good television, watch this show. The fifth show that I watched in December was a show I wasn't planning on binging, but accidentally did, and that was The Witcher season 1. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I watched the first 2 episodes and was kind of like, what is this? Because obviously the first episode is really quite violent, and I was like, don't know if I want to continue. But I did, and on Boxing Day I ended up binging like episodes 3 to 8, and it was really good. It was a really good show. I ended up falling in love with the characters, falling in love with the world and the story, and I just want more episodes, and we're not getting more episodes until 2021, and I'm just sort of sitting there like, I made a mistake by binging, what am I gonna do? It was just really good, and I love Garol and Ciri and Yennefer, and I can't wait to see them in season 2, and I have a lot of feelings, good feelings about the show. On Christmas Day, my grandfather asked me if I was watching it, and I was like, yeah, I've only seen the first 2 episodes. And he goes, yeah, Nana and I have been watching it. We've seen the first 3. I sort of was like, Nana's watching it? Nana doesn't like violent shows, but she's watching it, and apparently she enjoys it. And then there's something that happens in episode 5, and I was like, oh, I should ring them and warn them about that. I didn't, so the next time I see them, I'll be like, how'd you go with episode 5, guys? But it was such a good show. Again, highly recommend it if you like fantasy. It's so good. And then the last TV show that I watched in the month of December was another rewatch, and that was Liv and Maddie season 4. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. Season 4 is much shorter, and it is renamed Liv and Maddie Cali Style because the entire family moved to California after the events of season 3. We get to meet new family member Ruby. She is their cousin. We get Sing It Louder Skywalker, and we get all of the fun stuff, and I watched the finale and cried a lot because it's really, really sad. But also in season 4 we deal with Liv having vocal nodules, and having gone through vocal nodules myself, it was really nice to see it portrayed so lovely on screen, because Liv was terrified to start singing again and I was kind of terrified to try singing again as well. So that was just a nice little wrap up, and it was so good, and I love that show to pieces, and I'm so sad that I've finished rewatching it because I love it so much. Okay, so now that we have raced through the television shows, let's race through the movies that I watched this month. Okay, so the first movie that I watched was a rewatch, and that was the Santa Claus. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I love this film. I watch it every single Christmas. It is such a fun way to start off the season. I didn't get a chance to watch Santa Claus 2 or 3 this year though, which is a little bit sad. I'll have to try again in 2020, but I do love this first film, and I just think it's a really fun Christmas movie to watch. Second film that I watched was another rewatch, and that was Muppets Most Wanted. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. I watched this film when I was super sick. I definitely prefer the first one though. I think this one is really random and doesn't have as much of a coherent storyline. I think that the first one works much better, and the songs in the first one are much better as well. The third film I watched this month was another rewatch. That was Arthur Christmas. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This is the cutest little kitty Christmas film ever. I absolutely love this one to pieces. It has great characters, great stories, and it's just a fun time all around. It's a really beautiful story to watch at Christmas time. The fourth film I watched this month was The Night Before Christmas. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This was one of the Netflix films that came out this year for Christmas. Vanessa Hudgens starred in this one, and it was about the knight who came forward into the 21st century and about the two of them. It was corny as hell, but it was also super cute, and Vanessa Hudgens is definitely establishing herself as the queen of Netflix Christmas movies. But can we talk about Netflix's horrific product placement? Like, there's literally a scene in this film where the characters are watching Holiday in the Wild, which is a Netflix film that came out earlier, and then there's like, we see a map and it has Aldovia in it, and it's just, it's bad. I think they're trying to pretend that like all these movies take place around the same time, but then at the same time, like, we see characters watching the movie. It's bad, and they need to stop with their god-awful product placement. The fifth film I watched this month was A Cinderella Story Christmas Wish. I gave this one 2 out of 5 stars. This film was just bad. It really wasn't good. I love Laura Marano and Greg Sulkin, but this film just had a really bad script, and it wasn't a good or enjoyable film, and it was easily the worst of the Cinderella films that they have done since the Hilary Duff one. Okay, and then we get into a bunch of rewatches, which are literally all Star Wars. So first up, we have Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoy this film more than I probably should, but y'all should know that I was a real little kid when I first watched this one, because that's when it came out. It came out when I was 4, so I probably watched it for the first time when I was like 6 or 7. So I was at like the peak age to love things like Jar Jar Binks, and I still have kind of a soft spot for him because as a kid he was really funny and I loved him as a child. But you know, growing up now, I'm kind of like, yeah, that was a bad choice that they made, but you know, everything's fine. Also, I watched this on Disney Plus, and Yoda was replaced with a CGI Yoda, and I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I've got the DVD. Wasn't he a puppet in the DVD? I'm positive he was a puppet in the DVD, and now he's a little CGI guy. I'm like, this is not okay. Like, bring back my puppet Yoda, guys. And then the seventh film was Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I love almost everything about this film, and literally the only thing I don't like is the really weird dialogue between Anakin and Padme. Like, I know they were trying to have this real epic love story and show their relationship together, but the dialogue was just so weird. Like, so it didn't, every time they had a scene together, I would just cringe because the dialogue was awful, but I still love their relationship and I love everything about the film. And Ewan McGregor is amazing, and I love him, and I love everything about the sequence on Geonosis. It's so good. It's so much fun. The eighth film was Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I give this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I love this film. I think it is the best film of the prequels. I love everything about it, and I totally forgot how sad the ending was. I knew it was sad because I knew what happened, but I completely forgot how sad it was going to be. So sitting there watching it, I was like, this is really getting to me. Oh my goodness. That's so good. The ninth film was Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. I gave this one 5 out of 5 5 stars. This is one of the most amazing of all the Star Wars films. I love everything about it and I have so much nostalgia watching it. It's literally just the hero's journey but in space, and it's so much fun. It's fantastic and everything about it makes me really happy. The 10th film was Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. This is arguably the best of all of the Star Wars films. It's possibly my favorite one. I love the character growth that we see in this film. I love the story growth. I love getting to see everyone's little individual storylines and then seeing them all come together, and we get to meet new characters and get to go to new places. And this film had some of the best plot twists in history and it was just amazing and I loved it, and I still think that it is such a great film. And the 11th film was Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I have all of the love for this film. I think it was the perfect end to the original trilogy. It just really wrapped everything up beautifully and it makes me happy to watch. It just makes me happy to watch it. And then the 12th film was Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. It's been quite a while since I rewatched The Force Awakens and I forgot just how much I enjoyed that film. I loved everything about it. I loved getting to meet Rey and seeing her dynamic with Finn is hilarious. Poe is amazing. Love him to pieces. I am firmly on like the Poe Finn bandwagon here, so you know. All of those scenes made me very happy. I adore BB-8. I think he's the cutest little guy and I loved everything about this film. I love that we got a new trilogy. I love that we got Rey, and Kylo Ren is also amazing. Everything about it, just great. Then we move on to the 13th film, which was Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The more I watch this film, the more I enjoy it. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, whoa, what is this? This isn't a Star Wars film. I didn't like this at all. And then the more times I've gone back to watch it, the more I've gone, I like the film. I just don't like Rose and Finn's Canto Bight storyline, because that storyline is completely pointless in the entire film. If Holdo had just had one, like if she'd said one sentence to Poe, that storyline wouldn't have happened at all. And I absolutely hate storylines like that where they literally are just there to fill time. I think Rey's story is really good. I think Kylo's story is fantastic, and seeing their dynamic together. Not to mention we had two of the best scenes ever, which is the scene with Holdo and the Star Destroyer and the fight with Rey and Kylo. Those are two of the best sequences in Star Wars that I've ever seen, but the Canto Bight storyline was completely and utterly unnecessary and just added nothing to the story. So had its good moments, had its bad moments. And then we get to the 14th film, which was Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Man, I cried so many times. I loved it. I love the film. I can definitely see why it's getting such mixed reviews from critics, and I can see why people don't like it. Really interesting though. I have found that if someone absolutely loved The Last Jedi, they tend to hate Rise of Skywalker, and vice versa. If someone hated Last Jedi, they love Rise of Skywalker, which I find is quite interesting. But honestly, I just took the film for what it is. It is a wrap up of this new trilogy, and I thought they did it really, really well. I loved what they did with the final villain. I love what they did with Kylo Ren's story, Rey's story, everyone's storyline actually. I really loved it, and I loved getting to see our main cast actually finally be together, because they never really were together as like a full group up until this point, and I loved it and I thought it was fantastic and I really want to see it again. The 15th film I watched was Noel. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This was the Christmas film that was released on Disney Plus. It was okay. There was nothing super exciting about it. I do love Anna Kendrick though, and she is the reason why it got bumped up a little bit. It's one of those fun Christmas movies that you can just sort of put on and enjoy, and it's one of those ones that's trying to teach you, you know, that Christmas is not all about the presents. It's all about spending time with the people that you love, and knowing that not everyone wants Christmas to be the same as what you do because of various different reasons. But it's such a great film, and I would actually highly recommend it if you didn't watch it this year. Then I had a Disney night with some friends, so the 16th film that I watched was a rewatch, and that was Mulan. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. Mulan is a fantastic Disney film. It was at the peak of when Disney were releasing really, really good films. We've got great songs, we've got great story, and great characters, and just everything about it. Some of the lines in this film are fantastic, and I am actually really, really, really looking forward to seeing the new live action Mulan, because it does look like they're not just remaking this film shot for shot. It looks like they're just taking a new spin on the Mulan tale, which is something that I'm really looking forward to. 17th film that I watched was another rewatch, and that was Pocahontas. I give this one a 5 out of 5 stars. Pocahontas is my favorite Disney film of all time. I know it's a little problematic in places, especially if you go and you look up the actual historical events that this film is based on, but if you don't do that, it's just a really great film. And I think I love it so much because I love the idea of people actually taking a step back and taking care of the environment the way Pocahontas teaches John Smith to do. I think that's one of the reasons why I love the film as much as I do, and I love the songs and the characters and just everything about it. It's great. 18th film I watched was another rewatch. That was The Emperor's New Groove. I give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really like this one. My friends who I was watching it with, they love this one. I don't love it as much as they do, I think, because I don't have that nostalgic factor to it. I do really enjoy the film and I think it's really, really funny. I just don't think it's one of the best films that Disney have ever made. The 19th film I watched this month was The Good Dinosaur. I give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This is one I'd actually never seen, so this was not a rewatch. And this one was really good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't love it again. I thought it was done really well and it was definitely tugging at your heartstrings, but by the time we watched it, it was after midnight, so I was not feeling the emotion, I guess. I was just tired, but I did really like it and I liked the story and the characters and what those characters went through and the sort of stories that they were portraying. Now we get to the 20th film. Well, technically the 20th film of the month was Frozen 2, which I watched twice. I went to the movies to see it on a Friday and then I went to the movies to see it again on the Saturday night. So that happened. I gave this film a 5 out of 5 stars for obvious reasons because it's Frozen 2 and I love it so much. Then we get to I guess this will be the 21st film. I saw Cats, gave it a 1 out of 5 stars. I love the Cats musical with every fiber of my being. It is my favorite musical of all time. I have the DVD of the 1998 filmed for television version. I've seen it on stage 3 times and I just love it so much. So the new film, I could have gotten past the frankly horrific CGI if they hadn't messed with the musical itself as much as they did. So they changed a lot of things about the musical and they changed a lot of arrangements for the songs and I didn't like any of that. And that's the reason why I hated it. I mean the CGI was awful. Like there were multiple times when Judi Dench's hand was totally human. Like I could see her ring. The movie's not finished. It hasn't been finished CGIing, animating. It's not done, but they rushed it anyway. And it's not good. It's not a good film. It's definitely not a good film if you're a fan of the original musical because they changed and screwed up so much. They tried to include too much humor. Like Rebel Wilson was the completely wrong choice for that character and I don't know why she was in it. And it was just bad. It was a bad time all around and I'm glad I saw it though because I feel like you can't totally judge a film until you've properly seen it. But also this film was terrible and horrible and awful and just is an abomination that never should have been made. And then the 22nd and last film that I watched in December was Cats, but the 1998 version. This one was a rewatch. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars because it is the actual musical with the actual people and it's so good and I love it so much and it's so nostalgic and everything about it makes me really, really happy because everything about the new one makes me really, really sad. And there you go. Those are all of the television shows and movies that I watched in the month of December. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you watched because I would absolutely love to know. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.